for a democracy. Fighting for a democracy. And understand the difference here. Understand the difference here.
They asked her about the gun.
Yes.
And she, I got a Glock. What kind?
Yes.
And her answer was,
Yeah.
And Those were invented by nervous white people around black people.
Tyrus just put Kamala Harris in the hot seat, taking aim at years of awkward speeches, nervous giggles, and answers that sound like riddles nobody asked for, turning what could have been a typical political critique into a full-blown roast where he tears apart the endless word salads, laugh tracks, and painfully staged inspirational moments, leaving her speeches more confusing than ever and making sure you'll never unhear his brutal unpacking.
VP Harris, she won't go to the border, probably because she'd rather take the magic school bus to the moon.
You guys are gonna see. You're gonna literally see the craters on the moon with your own eyes.
Oh my goodness.
With your own eyes, I'm telling you, it is gonna be unbelievable.
With your own eyes.
Smash that like button and subscribe, because you don't want to miss this. Kamala Harris is living proof that you can fail upwards so spectacularly you start defying gravity, launching yourself into the vice presidency armed only with cackles, endless word salads, and a smile that screams, "I definitely rehearsed this in the mirror," making Elon Musk's rockets look like child's.
Kamala Harris getting mocked and criticized once again after dishing out another one of her now notoriously scrambled responses, which her critics have taken to calling a word salad. The vice president was meeting with the Jamaican prime minister, for example, when she blurted this out.
For Jamaica, one of the issues that has been presented as an issue that is economic in the way of its impact has been the pandemic. So to that end, we are announcing today also that we will assist Jamaica in
Quotes, as if America asked, "What's the absolute worst audition tape for leadership we could possibly approve?" And Kamala Harris walked in with a resume that reads like a fever dream of confusion turned politician turned whatever she's supposed to be now, the famously symbolic vice presidency into performance art, so that every time she opens her mouth, it feels like the opening scene of a sitcom nobody wanted to.
I think it's very important, as you have heard from so many incredible leaders, for us at every moment in time, and certainly this one, to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present, and to be able to contextualize it.
That nervous, jittery cackle which comes across less like a confident stateswoman and more like a middle schooler caught cheating on a test, hoping awkward humor will save her. She could be asked about the most serious global crisis and respond with the kind of laugh you'd hear at a backyard barbecue. When someone slips on potato salad, leaving you imagining a meeting with world leaders suddenly sound... Kamala talks like she's stuck in a perpetual job interview she didn't prepare for, stringing words together as if solving a riddle she forgot she wrote herself, making her speeches feel like opening a fortune cookie drafted by a ChatGPT. Running on 1% battery, leaving you waiting for a point that never lands, only to spiral into a TED Talk about absolutely
not voicing your opinion in that moment.
Yes, and I actually have reflected on that, and I've written about that. I realized...
Would it have mattered if you did?
I don't.
And this is the person one heartbeat away from the Oval Office supposed to bring charisma, relatability, and inspiration to the ticket, but instead, delivering Google Translate on shuffle mode, making her attempts to inspire a crowd feel like someone accidentally clicked shuffle on a playlist called Corporate Buzzwords 2008, tossing in words like moment, importance, together, and future, before cackling and calling the speech over. This isn't harmless awkwardness, it's incompetence in a pantsuit, reflected in a track record that swings from treating truancy like a terrorist threat with parents facing jail time, to pretending she's the always cool auntie fighting for fairness. Not political growth, but constant costume changes. Treating politics like a drag show where every night's theme is whatever polls best.
It was amazing
that no one asked. You told the American people that President Biden was better than he ever was, and you couldn't keep up with him. And then he gets pulled out of the race because he has dementia. So on the record, you are saying that a old man with dementia, or whatever they want to call it, outworked you. And you were even the last person in the room. So why are you running for president again?
The 2020 campaign was quite the spectacle. She started with fanfare, shiny rallies, and the promise of being a historic candidate, only for reality to hit and voters collectively shrug. As her presidential bid collapsed so fast it might as well have been built on crypto, never even making it to the primaries and going from the next big thing to next week's trivia question in record time. Yet instead of fading into obscurity, she was handed the vice presidency, proving that spectacular failure is apparently a top-tier resume builder in Washington. And today we have a VP who manages to be both invisible and embarrassing, assigned to the border crisis, yet avoiding the actual border like a lifeguard setting up 3 blocks away from the pool, choosing instead to fly to Central America and tell people not to come, as if poverty and violence simply heed polite
Moving forward, she couldn't move forward from that sentence. My IQ moved backward.
Is basically the group project partner who does none of the work but insists on giving the presentation, showing up late, contributing nothing of value, hogging the mic with incoherent rambling, and then laughing like she nailed it. If politics had Yelp reviews, hers would be 2 stars, showed up, didn't deliver, laughed a lot, would not recommend, with approval ratings slower than deep up. From awkward cooking videos and staged photo ops to endless "we are in the moment of this moment" speeches that feel like a parody, doing improv comedy without realizing it. And her foreign policy moments are no better, sending her to meet world leaders like sending the class clown to negotiate with the principal, making other countries wonder if America is serious, while diplomats prepared for months only to sit across from someone, explaining global conflict like kindergarten circle.
Things that you can say to people.
Yeah.
But I help people who harm people. God bless, good night, that's my time. That's what...
I think it's an excellent thing to acknowledge to a therapist.
Yes.
Geez, the political equivalent of a flashy gadget that breaks after one use. Shiny, hollow, yet somehow still coasted along, not due to effectiveness or trust, but because the system props her up. If mediocrity had a patron saint, she'd be canonized tomorrow, tripping over barriers while laughing as if intentional, leaving her only real accomplishment as rendering late-night comedy writers obsolete, with every clip of her speeches serving as its own punchline and needing a laugh track, not for wit but to mask confusion, proving what happens when politics prioritizes optics over outcomes, making her the living embodiment of awkward style over absent substance. America didn't elect a leader, it elected an open mic night experiment.
I don't think Kamala will ever hold public office again.
Better not.
I don't think you can come back from. It wasn't that she was outfoxed. It wasn't that she lost. I think you can certainly lose an election and run a good election.
While she might think she's building her brand for the future, the truth is Kamala Harris is cementing her place as the vice president. People will joke about for decades, forget Madam Vice President. History will remember her as the word salad queen who cackled her way into office and laughed whenever responsibility knocked, becoming the kind of political figure who makes even her own supporters squirm, not because she's controversial, but because she's awkward, seemingly allergic to directness, capable of making even a description of water confusing, and then punctuating every near point with that high-pitched, nervous sitcom side character laugh. If presidential debates were stand-up nights, she wouldn't need a microphone, just giggle for 5 minutes and call it policy. Her laugh, serving as shield, punctuation, reset button, and tell, signaling, I have no idea what I just said, and neither do you, so let's pretend it was funny.
She never saw the video.
Yeah.
Okay? That's not someone who describes a video.
Yeah.
That's someone that they handed this to her, and she was like, elephants? Oh, I'll take it from here. And then she went out there. And she was not drunk. She was hungover, because she's way worse when she's hungover. That was hungover because she kept saying the same thing over and over again.
Readers claim she's unfairly criticized because she's a woman of color, but the real issue isn't identity, it's that Kamala Harris has the political instincts of a malfunctioning GPS, always recalculating, never actually leading anywhere. People cringe not because of who she is, but because she's the human embodiment of an awkward icebreaker exercise. From fighting to keep people in prison for cheap labor to trying to cast herself as a champion of justice while her past decisions kept popping up like embarrassing Facebook photos, making her campaign collapse faster than a paper straw in soda, compounded by an inability to connect, speaking as if addressing interns forced to clap, with no warmth, realness, or authenticity, just scrambled, carefully packaged lines so confusing that even her own staff reportedly had to Google her platform.
Surrounded, and then they formed a circle, and then they got together. Go the away.
And somehow, that was enough for the vice presidency, not because she earned it or because the people demanded it, but because the Democratic Party wanted a historic pick. And yes, it was historic, just not in the way they imagined. Instead of a beacon of leadership, Kamala Harris has become a walking example of why symbolism without substance is dangerous, turning her role on the world stage into a global comedy tour where every clip abroad feels like an SNL skit. Standing next to serious leaders, nodding and smiling before delivering word salads that sound like a group project presentation she didn't do, leaving other leaders wondering if this is really the best America has to offer, with solutions like telling people not to come as if migration were merely a friendly reminder, not leadership, just Walmart-level customer service, compounded by cringe-worthy attempts at relatability, from chopping vegetables in a cooking video like a bloopers reel to staged photo ops that make her look like a wax museum version of herself, exuding the charisma of an AI-generated influencer who doesn't blink.
At the convention when you said you have guns. No, at the debate. At the debate.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun owner.
I did not know that.
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes, yes. I hear that. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that.
But
my staff will deal with that later.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the first time I've ever seen Oprah Winfrey stutter.
Yeah.
She was like, what she wanted to say, remember that stupid you said at the, which, was it the debate or was it the DNC that they drew me out and Stedman's pissed, he was double parked, waiting for this. Like she literally said nothing. She's like, if Oprah can't save you, nobody can.
Her approval ratings reflect all of this. They're not low because she's being unfairly targeted, but because nobody is buying what she's selling, consistently hovering in the basement with the most common reaction from voters being a resounding meh. She doesn't inspire love or hate, only apathy. And apathy is political death, with speeches that are their own genre of comedy, a masterclass in saying absolutely nothing with maximum enthusiasm, repeating words in circles like casting spells until no one remembers the question, leaving us with someone who couldn't survive the 2020 primaries, can't break 40% approval, struggles to string a sentence without veering into nonsense, and yet is still considered next in line, not meritocracy, but desperation. The political equivalent of a participation trophy. She didn't win, didn't inspire, didn't lead, she just laughed. Her rise defined not by talent or vision, but by box checking, optics over outcomes, and hype over substance.
You know what happened, Greg? The teleprompter went up and they cheered too long.
Yeah.
And she panicked because all she couldn't remember the connection word. So she panicked. This ain't close, I'm telling you.
Make history and did. But not as the trailblazer she imagined. She became the punchline, a fitting reminder that history doesn't always crown heroes, sometimes it crowns examples, and Kamala Harris will go down as the case study in how not to lead, not to inspire, and not to connect. She wanted to be the moment, but instead became the